Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Men of Valor podcast. This is Travis Watson coming to you with my very good friend and fellow executive, Mr. Jordan Loggins. Evening, Jordan. How you doing?
Feel like I've been scrambling all day. Rushed to work this morning, then church right after that. Then I got home and had to make some Men of Valor hats to get ready to ship out, and some business stuff, other business stuff. And now we're here on the podcast, ready to record. But excited to be here
Yeah,
with you, man. Always a pleasure when we get to hop on here and chop it up and
yeah,
discuss. Topic, man, tonight is already convicted me.
yeah. Well,
Knowing what topic we've had and getting ready for it, I've already been trying to do some stuff to change some habits that line up with this a little bit. Um, but
there you go.
excited to be on here with you, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love being with you too. It's been a while, I think, since we've done one.
Yeah, it
Um,
has.
and you mentioned being busy. We talked a little bit on the pre-record here, just about life and the chaos of it. And gosh, man, we know men all over our country anyway. I'm sure all over the world are struggling with sickness and just busyness, and it just seems like it's that time of the year, even though it's a new year, that people are just struggling. It's like
Yep.
the holidays are over and trying to maintain that momentum and excitement and in addition to feeling healthy is a struggle, which brings us to our topic for the month that we've been covering, the topic of health, specifically for men. And man, what a great topic to talk about, given how everything's been going for us all.
Yep, yep. It's been an interesting start to 2024, but I know God's in control at the end of the day, and He's got a plan for it all, and just excited to walk through it.
Sounds great. Well, we're going to give you guys just a couple small announcements, nothing major today on the back end of the podcast. So I'm not going to take any more time. You guys hang in there and let's get after it. This is the Men of Valor podcast. We exist to help men grow as disciples of Jesus.
Welcome to season 2. We're glad you're here.
Let me tell you, I once was a sinner, but I am no longer a sinner. I am a saint. I am a son of the living God Most High.
Go home, embrace your wife with no expectations, and tell her that you love her. And ask her, how can I lead you? Tell me what you need. Be transparent, be open, be honest.
But if we arm ourselves and we never use what we have, that's useless. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. Here are your hosts, Travis Watson, Eric Stewart, Jordan Loggins, and Randall Ballou. Let's get after it.
All right, everybody, and welcome again to episode number 16 here in season 2 for the month of January in 2024. We here at Men of Valor have been discussing the topic of health. It's one of those areas where I think men have a natural curiosity. How do I get better at maintaining health? For some people, it can be something as simple as wanting to have a muscular body and wanting to be in top dynamic shape. And for some of us, let's just be honest, we're just trying to survive raising our children and we need a little extra energy and we
Right.
could be drained a little bit, but we don't talk about it probably as much as we should. But that's what we're doing this month, is talking about the topic intentionally. So week one, I covered week one of this month anyway. I covered the podcast with a dear friend of mine, Mr. Philip Pigeon, and we started talking out about just our mental health, our spiritual health, our interior health, if you will, and just the importance of having a healthy soul, a healthy heart, a healthy mind. And then, of course, if you missed last week, I want to encourage you, go back and catch it. Our fellow executive and fearless leader, Mr. Eric Stewart, had a very special guest, Mr. Alan Jones. I'm not going to tell you a lot about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but I do want to encourage you. You definitely want to check that out. I think you'll be surprised a little bit about it, but I think you'll also enjoy it. They talked a lot about exercise and nutrition, and certainly Eric's guest, Alan, I would classify as an expert in that area. He
Yeah,
certainly
he
knows
knows a little bit about that.
a thing or two more about that, as my daughter is very quickly to let me know that on a regular basis. So today, however, if you're tuning in, Jordan and I are going to talk about two different topics. And one is having a plan, the importance of having a plan when it comes to your health. And then the second thing we're going to discuss towards the end is the importance of rest as it relates to our health. And
Yeah, that one's already stepping on my toes. You just
yeah,
saying it.
yeah, it's a tough one, but we'll do our best to talk about it, confess our sins, absolve one another, and hopefully encourage each other and you that are listening to just have a plan even for that, so we can get better at this. Because the reality of it is, I mean, we want to encourage men to be men of valor. That's why we even have this podcast. It's how can we talk about topics that are going to motivate, encourage, equip men to be the men that God's called them to be. And that's kind of what's even behind this idea of talking about health this month. There's a lot of things you're going to fail in if you're not healthy as a man.
Yep.
You could have all the desire in the world, but if you're not healthy, it doesn't matter. Any thoughts you want to jump in with about health in general, Jordan, before we get going into having a plan, or what do you think?
It's just how crucial it is. I'm creeping towards 40 in a hurry. And I can already tell how the neglect and the lack of planning and the lack of taking care of my health is having a toll in my life. I came into 2024, especially with the challenge that Eric put out to us with the Better Me for MOV kind of challenge, really to work on that health this year and not let it keep getting, another year and another year and another year. And just the small changes I made here at the beginning of this year, cutting out some things out of my diet, being more intentional exercise and stuff, I can already tell of an extra level of energy, even with the sickness I battled the first couple of weeks of the year. Those small changes are having a huge impact already in my life. So guys, take this stuff seriously. That's just kind of a little bit of soapbox area. But your health, without some planning, without taking care of it, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
And it's important. If you want to be the man God's called us to be, your health is a pivotal part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good stuff, man. And I'm right there with you. I've got a decade on you. I'm going to be 50 this year. And you just kind of in your mind, I think as a guy, you always believe like, hey, I'm that guy in high school still, right? I can still run through a wall. I can recover. I can, just
Yeah.
go all the time and burn the candle on both ends. And your mind's telling you that, but your body's constantly reminding you, hey, you can't do this
You're not
mentally,
22 anymore.
physically, right? You got to hold up now, especially if you're chasing kids and teenagers and just everything else that life throws at you. It can really, really wear on you. So you mentioned, and I want to bring this up here because I plan on talking about it at some point, and this is a great point to talk about it as we get into talking about having a plan. You mentioned the challenge Eric threw out to our community of Better Me by MOV, which refers to the MOV conference in August. And
Yep.
if you're not part of our band app community, I would encourage you download the band app and do a search for Men of Valor Ministries. You can also go to our website, movministries.org, and find a link to our band community. But the community is where we encourage one another, where we pray for one another, but also where we challenge one another, which is where Eric threw this challenge down. And I love how that fits with having a plan, because the idea behind it is, hey, let's not just hope that we get better over the course of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not make New Year's resolution, but let's be very intentional in the spiritual areas, mental areas, physical areas, intentional with our family and with our finances. What can we do so that by the time the conference rolls around in August, we can say, hey, I'm a better me now than I was back in January. So I love that he threw that out there, but I also want to encourage you, if you haven't, participated in that yet, or put some thoughts and plans together yet, do it now.
Yep.
There's no deadline you miss that's saying, hey, you can't jump in and make a plan now to be a better you. But I don't know. I find that when you have something in front of you that you're looking at plan wise, it keeps you motivated, but it also keeps you on target. And I think one of the devastating things of not having a plan when it comes to your health is you're just shooting at whatever pops into your head, whatever occurs to you, or whatever you're feeling maybe in the moment or in the week you're in. And that is just a disaster waiting to happen. You're going to struggle and probably not see any transformation or change if that's your approach. You agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's been my life. I'll go back pre pharmacy school. So 2009, 2010, before I got into pharmacy school. I was pretty good at that. I was pretty good at actually making a plan. I was in the gym regularly with friends, doing things, was in pretty good health. And then I got to that stage of pharmacy school. And then after that, graduating, got the family, got the kid, I've got the whole life. And it became every day of just kind of hurdling all the different stuff that I had to do and trying to check them off of the list with no true plan. That's what got me where I'm at today. I'm far too out of shape and overweight for where I should be. Um, and coming into 2024 with Eric's challenge, I'm trying to become a little bit of a spreadsheet nerd because I found that I enjoy those and can keep up with them well. And so I've actually got a spreadsheet of all my different categories. And that's how I made my plan for this year. And so, each of the ones, the family, the finance, the mental, physical, spiritual, actually made me a spreadsheet with a calendar on it and started setting these things up because I know without those things and without me having that some sort of organization, I'm not going to get healthier. I'm not going to get any of these things done. I'm not, that's for me, that has become my plan is having it down. And so that I can follow up with it and I can go and look and say, hey, I did great here and I failed here and here's how I can get better to hold myself accountable. Because it's, a lot of bad decisions over a long period of time got me where I'm at. So it's not going to be some overnight fix. Guys, if you're looking for the shortcut, the easy way out, it's not going to work. And that's speaking to you from a pharmacist. I've got the training, I got all the education in the world to take care of my health, which a lot of times is a detriment to me. I get sick and it's like, I know how to treat this. I don't need to go see a doctor. It drives my wife crazy because she's like, you need to go see a doctor. I'm like, I'll go look in the mirror and see a doctor. I pull that on her quite often, actually. But a lot of times, I've got like I said, I've got every bit of knowledge that I need to be healthy. Now it's just a matter of executing a plan to do it and getting myself there.
I love that. That's good. It's back to what I was kind of alluding to earlier. If you don't have a plan, you're just aimlessly shooting at things and you're never going to hit the target. Right. And so and understand that a plan, it's like a roadmap. It's a destination of where you're going to get to or where you want to get to in just about any area. But it also is a great reminder, like you just said, you're not going to get there tomorrow morning or even next week. Like let's just say it's your physical condition. My wife and I get to travel to the Caribbean every year. We kind of make that a priority for us. And so our target date that we're leaving, it's like, okay, I want to be down 10 pounds when we're leaving. And so I know I'm not going to hit the gym the week before and magically lose 10 pounds, right? It's a little bit here, a little bit there, going with a consistent diet, a consistent workout routine, a consistent approach and strategy. Same way with spiritual growth. You're not going to become a theologian because you open your Bible starting tomorrow morning and read a chapter a day. But what will happen if you continually get into the Word of God, continually add to that, have conversations, dig in deeper as you go, you're going to look back and say, wow, 6 months ago, I didn't know as much about the Bible as I do now. And that applies to every area we're talking about, family, finances, whatever it might be. So absolutely get a plan. And I like what you said about, your nerd self find a spreadsheet. Everyone's got to find what works for them because not everybody's a spreadsheet guy. And not everybody is, a picture kind of guy where, they've got to visualize it and see it and things like that. We're all different. And the beautiful thing is no matter what area you're wanting to tackle or multiple areas, there are a gazillion plans out there, thanks to this little thing called the internet, where you can find a plan for just about anything. You mentioned the spreadsheet. What are some of your go-tos for, maybe a specific area, one or two areas that you're attacking or working through, as far as like maybe it's a physical workout plan, maybe it's a financial strategy you're looking at or budgeting thing, could be, how to lead your family better, a book you're reading. What are some go-to resources for you?
So my big thing this year is my physical health. I feel like I've done a real good job, not real good job, a better job with my spiritual, financial, mental health type stuff over the last several years. So for me, my 5 days of workouts a week is big for this year. But again, that doesn't just happen, right? There has to be a plan in place. And so coming into the new year, we took the time to build a home gym. We've got all the tools that I need here at the house. I invested in the posters that have my workouts. You can go on Amazon, y'all, and you can order posters to hang on your wall that give you easy at-home workouts, whether it be dumbbells, whether it be bench, workout machines, resistance bands. You can find all that stuff. That stuff is easily accessible. We're talking like $10. $10, you can have that poster hanging on your wall that gives you a weekly workout plan to walk through to take the excuses away. You don't have to have a gym membership. You don't have to leave your house. You can get resistance bands, grab you one of them posters, and you've got a weekly workout routine. And so for me, making those plans in place takes out the excuses.
That's good.
You know, because for the longest time, it's, oh, I can't go to the gym. I don't have time to go to the gym. And I really don't. I don't have time to go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. It's just not in my allotted time. But I've got time here at the house to throw on some headphones, go in my gym, you know, in the garage where we've got it set up, do some workout, and then I'm right back in the house getting done what I need to get done, taking care of my family. So the 5 days of workouts, that was a big one for me. But then the weight loss, I set a big goal this year, man. I've got 60 pounds that I'd like to lose before MOV, 80 pounds for the year. And like you said, that is not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
My sickness took 14 pounds off though, to start the year, you know, so it wasn't fun being sick at the beginning of the year, but I got a big boost on my weight loss journey.
There you go.
But you know, it's not going to happen overnight. And something you were talking about, you didn't say the word, but you hinted all around it. It's going to come down to discipline.
Yeah.
That D word, as us old SoCon vets know, it's referred to in the beginning of the book, that ugly D word we don't like to talk about. But it's going to take discipline, because I'm not going to lose 60 to 80 pounds just by cutting out soft drinks for a couple of weeks.
That's it.
There's going to have to be daily disciplines in my life that I've planned for. And it starts, you know, for us in my house, it's meal planning. That's a plan that we have to have in place here. It is my workouts. It is making sure that when we're chasing Connor to ball games, when we are I'm having to, you know, go to work and then go to church and then pick him up from ball practice or whatever it is, I've got a plan in place that I'm not having to eat fast food.
Yeah.
I've got a plan, you know, to have something healthy, an alternative to grabbing that McDonald's or, you know, whatever it is. So there's a whole lot of discipline, a whole lot of planning that's going to go into meeting these goals this year. And it's something that for me, you know, the spreadsheet, I just use a Google spreadsheet. It's free. Anybody can use a Google spreadsheet. You don't have to pay for that service. All you do is have a Gmail account, and it's on the go, right? We got our phones with us. My spreadsheet's right here on my phone at all times.
There you go.
Easily accessible. I can go in there and check off my list. Just trying to take off all the excuses, all the perceived roadblocks that I put in place too often that make me fail at these goals.
Yeah. I love that. My son and I, we kind of adopted a phrase in our home, and it's kind of become our motto: discipline till death. That we never stop working on ourselves until the day we die. And it's been really neat to kind of just, you know, even in the tough moments of reminding each other, hey, discipline till death, you know, don't forget. You got to keep working even when you don't feel like it. And the reason it's so important, what Jordan just shared, is the natural default and the natural tendency that we're going to have, especially as men. Most of you are running from a job to an activity. You're trying to get everything in, trying to get everything done. But like Jordan just said, you don't want to just respond in situations. You know, oh, it's 7 o'clock at night. I haven't ate yet. It's going to be a while before I get home, so I might as well grab something from the concession stand or something like that, and just blow all the work you did, you know, early in the morning. You have to be thinking constantly. You constantly have to be, you know, a few steps ahead of the process and looking at your schedule, look at what's coming up, plan for contingencies, et cetera. And there's so many things out there. You referred to the SoulCon community. That's been a kind of a sister, brother, father, mother, whatever relationship you want to call it, community of ours that we've been a part of. We met there. We came out of there as a group of men to form Men of Valor. But we, you know, it's a great community for brotherhood, especially as it relates to the physical. There's a lot of good spiritual stuff there as well. I don't want to take away from that, but there's a heavy emphasis on physical challenges, mental challenges, things to push yourself. Personally, for me, I love you use the language a little bit, the no excuse workouts that you can
Mm-hmm.
find through that ministry. Good friend of ours, Mr. Eddie Wilson, a law officer out in
He's a
Nevada.
beast.
Nevada. He's a beast
Nevada.
at it. He's written some killer workouts. Three of the no
Mm.
excuse ones just tear me up all the time. And I love just doing those on a rotating basis. That's what my teenage son and I are doing right now. And but my point is there are so many tools just on that website alone. There's HIIT workouts, there's strength training, there's running, there's so many things. And that's just one resource, one site. Again, you could Google, you could go on app if you're an Apple fan. They have the fitness app. There are so many things that you can use to track, to encourage,
Yep.
to put a plan together and say, okay, this is how I'm going to go after it. And you know, the world in which we live, apps in your phone are probably going to be one of your biggest fans. Now, if you're not a tech guy and you want to go with paper, that works just as well too.
Yep.
But you know, part of my planning that I'm doing right now is I found a great app that helps me track my nutrition. I've never in
Mm.
50 years tracked my nutrition. I've done it for 2 weeks now where I'm literally monitoring every calorie. I scan every label. And I used to think, man, I don't got time for that. It literally, it's become something I look forward to. It's almost like a competitive approach to tackling food. And I didn't think I would say that, but I mean, it just tracks fiber, protein, all of that tells you, you know, what you should be taking and what you should avoid and how you're doing. Are you hitting your goals? How many steps are you getting in? How's your workouts going? All these kind of things. And it's been phenomenal. It's been one of the best tools I've used in a long time. Cost me $30 for an annual subscription to it. But the way I look at it, $30 over 12 months, it's well worth the
That's
investment.
nothing.
It
Yeah.
helps me stay healthy. So our point that we're just trying to bring out here up front to you guys is the importance of a plan and also the understanding that there are plans everywhere. Don't use the excuse of, I don't know how to come up with something. Again, I would also say it's the value of community. You can talk to somebody and say, hey, where do you think I should start? And if they don't know, who do you think I should talk to? I guarantee you somebody knows somebody that you could talk to. Certainly you could talk to even of one of us executives and we could point you towards somebody and say, hey, this is somebody that could get you started, give you some pointers, someone that'd be willing to walk with you and get you going. So don't let excuses keep you from having a plan. Like Benjamin Franklin said, failing to plan is planning to fail,
That's
right?
right.
So
And at the same time, don't let, if you happen to mess up, you know, I started, like I mentioned, I started the year off sick, got behind on my workouts right out the gate. And in the past, I'd have been like, oh, throw in the towel, you know, already messed it up, or you know, don't. Just because you know, even with all the planning in the world, stuff's going to happen. There's circumstances, life's going to punch you in the nose. Give yourself some grace, and just don't stay down that mat. Get back up, and
yeah.
hop right back in it. You know, if you know you have no other alternatives, the day goes out of hand, and you got to grab some food out. Grab some food out, and then get right back at it the next morning. Don't beat yourself up when those plans fall apart.
Yeah, that's good. Great advice. So with that, let me ask you another question. What do you think? Because I'm sure we probably have some guys that are just maybe not type A's, not go-getters as far as, you know, thriving on plans and spreadsheets and putting stuff together. It's just like even the sound of that probably sounds defeating to them. What do you think, either for yourself personally or for men in general, some of the big challenges as far as barriers might be when it comes to this area of planning?
I just think we're not organized enough. I think guys in general don't want to sit down and take the time to plan. But you almost have to. For me, I used to struggle. I'd have all this stuff to get done, and I would just kind of mentally have this list and try to get it done. And so I had to start actually putting time down on my calendar of, hey, here's time to plan my schedule and stick to that. So the biggest part is committing that time to make a plan. Whatever that looks like for you, whether it's a spreadsheet like I do, whether it's a notes app on your phone, a piece of paper, a notebook that you keep with you, you've got to take that time to plan. Sorry, guys, still getting over this cough.
You're good.
If there's you mentioned it, you know, if you're not making that plan, you're going to fail, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got to find that time, whether it be the beginning of the week, the end of the week, going into the new week, whatever it is, you've got to devote some sort of time, whether it's
Yeah.
an evening for 30 minutes, an hour. If you're not taking that time, you're not going to meet any of your goals.
Right.
They're not just going to happen by you just wanting them. That's not the way things work. So if you're not committing that time, you're never going to make it.
Right. Yeah. And busyness certainly is a factor there. You get so busy that you don't make time even to plan. Um, a couple of my goals for my family and in the area of spirituality even is I want to read through the whole Bible at least once with my wife this year throughout the year. But I also want to we do an evening worship time with our kids, something Eric again challenged us on last December a year ago. So as far as doing nightly devotions and stuff with your family, and that's been awesome. But one of the things I want to do this year is go through the Chosen series with them as well. And it's we're talking about planning. I can't just sit my family down in the evening, come home from work, and say, "Okay, we're going to start doing this." That is not planning. That is a horrible, horrible approach. I need to talk to my wife and say, "Hey, there are a couple things I really want to try and take on for this year, and I want to get your feedback and what do you think about it, and how can we do this in a way that's going to, encourage everybody, and how can we, maybe arrange bedtimes at a certain time, extended 15 minutes or whatever, so we can get this in, make sure we're doing dinner as a family at a certain time. How can I contribute? How can I help to the evening schedule plan, etc.? What works for you and me as far as reading the Bible? What kind of plan would you like to do? How can we go about setting that up? What kind of time frame do you want to do? A full year plan, a short plan, etc. So, busyness can be one of those excuses where, well, I don't have time to get going. You can make time. You just have to be intentional to say, you know what, I'm going to turn the TV off early tonight or whatever. And honey, I'd like, can we take 30 minutes and just talk about a direction I want to go with the family?
One of the crazy things that happened when I started taking time with my calendar and actually mapping out my day. So like on Mondays, I'm off work now. I don't have to be at the pharmacy. And so I literally have went in and put like, all right, this hour I'm spending on social media for the Church of Men of Valor, and this hour I'm spending on real estate, or whatever it is that I'm doing for that day. I've got it on my calendar. It's amazing how much time I feel like I picked up during my day.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because now I'm not just aimlessly wandering around thinking, what do I need to get done? Like there's actually a plan for my day.
Yeah.
My efficiency, dude, I'm telling you, has gone through the roof over the last few weeks of getting stuff done, not feeling like I'm constantly behind, chasing my tail, because I'm actually dictating my time now. I'm getting to read books for personal growth. It now, like, it used to be the excuse of I don't have any time to read. Dude, I'm almost through 2 books already this year. We're 17 days in. I've not read 2 books in a year in a minute. Because I've just and it's crazy because I'm a reader. Like I love to read. I had just not prioritized my time, and it ended up getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and going to bed at 10:30, and it just being packed full of stuff, air quote
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and a lot of it was wasted time
Yeah.
and disorganization, those kind of things. So again, making a plan frees up a lot of time, and you can get a lot more done than you realize.
Yeah. I've heard many a preacher preach on the idea that we all have been given the exact allotment of time every day, 24 hours. So it's, and some of us, obviously, we have more demands on us regarding work schedules, family responsibilities, etc. Uh, but you have the same amount of time I do. You have to choose how you're going to use it, how you're going to spend it. Um, I think one area too that could be extremely beneficial in this area of planning is, yes, it's important to talk to your spouse or significant other. It's important to, make sure your priorities are straight as far as your work and things of that nature that God's given you and you're called to. But I also think it's important to have some men in your life that you can kind of track with as you go through this. That can encourage you. Like you said, Jordan, you're going to have days where you screw up, you don't hit the gym, you can't go to the gym, you're injured, you're hurt, you eat the wrong food, whatever. Things are going to happen. And I just don't think you can put a high enough price tag on having brothers in your life that can keep you focused, that can encourage you, not to get down on yourself, can pick you back up when you're struggling or you have an off day or you plateau or whatever else. Um, I just, as much as I can tell you, don't go at this alone. It's hard and you need people around you, even if it's just digital. Our prayer is you got guys in your local church, guys in your community, etc. What a great way to establish some brotherhood. Um, but at the same time, if you don't have anyone and you at the very minimum, you got to go digital, then go digital, but don't do it
Yeah.
alone. Find some guys.
Yeah, I've been blessed that obviously we've got the band app, we've got the MOV guys, right? There's a lot of support there. But I've been blessed that I've got several guys in my local church that I'm very close with. But man, we've also got a Team Georgia Marco Polo group. It's got about 15 of us guys. Out of that 15, probably 8 or 9 are pretty active. I'm not near as active as I'd like to be because those guys tend to get so chatty while I'm at work. I'll get off and there'll be 40 or 50 polos. So I don't get to respond as much. But dude, I get so much encouragement and accountability from that group of guys because we're constantly checking in. We're talking about struggles of life and the highlights of life and what we can do better. And hey, this worked for me. Y'all give it a try. You know, even guys dropping in podcast recommendations or YouTube videos for personal growth. I mean, just constant material there with a group of guys that are all trying to get better. We're all trying to be better men, to truly be men of valor. And so I just wanted to echo that, man. It is huge having a group of men around you. Obviously, if you can have them physically around you, to me, I think that's a huge boost. But digitally as well, having that connection with guys, it's huge.
Yeah, that's good. We're getting ready to jump into this painful topic of rest here in just a second, but one more thing before we do. I wanted to just kind of hear from you a little bit more about what you feel it looks like. Because again, don't get hung up just on planning for physical health. That's a big one, obviously. It's a real important one. We're talking about planning across the board to lead spiritually, to lead in a physical way, to lead your children if you have children, to lead your spouse if you have a spouse, your friends, your family, uh, in your finances, all these different areas. What do you think in this area of health? What does it look like for a man of valor to lead well in this area? It's a big question. Gonna hit you with it.
Yeah, that's a big question because there's so many avenues you can take that. I mean, we can walk through each of the topics for the better me for MOV. So mental health. We're almost going to kind of get in that to the rest because I think that's a huge part of mental health. So I'm not going to dive in that one too much. But like for me, mental, I also talked about mental growth. And so reading books was a big one for me this year, adding that in and doing so in partnership with my bride a couple of times on a couple of books that we're going to read as a couple this year. Because I think that's going to help our growth as a married couple. We're doing we've got discipleship groups that we use here at our Liberty Church in Lula, and my bride and I are part of a group of 4 married couples that are going through a discipleship group this year and reading the Bible together and talking about it, breaking that down. So me being engaged in those, being involved in those conversations, talking with my bride through the week leading up to those, that's how I'm showing her what it is to study the word. I'm leading by example in that area. I'm not just showing up to this discipleship group unprepared, sitting in the back, not being engaged. I'm actually leading. We're sitting down as a family. We do a Bible plan for the year at our church, and we're sitting down as a family. So my son's getting to see us take time to read through those scriptures. He's learning how not just how we read them, but how we break them down, how we learn from them. He's learning how to dissect the scriptures through that Bible study. So again, I'm leading my family through that. That's a way that I can show my son the discipline to get in the word, to study that, what it means to kind of walk through that. We're also to set a bunch of financial goals, financial health. Is probably something that we don't talk about near enough. I know we just did finances in December as a ministry with our podcast. But I don't think enough couples, enough families talk about their finances. I think financial stress probably destroys more marriages than about anything in our country. And so having financial health is vital. And again, talking about having a plan, you have to have a plan with your finances. Travis, I know you talking the podcast in December, you and Nikki do a really good job planning your budget, think Nikki kind of leads in that way, but y'all have y'all's meetings, y'all
Yep.
have your
Yep.
budget. I know for us, before 2017, it was just kind of fly by the seat of your pants, hope all the bills get paid, kind of life. And then post 2017, when we actually started making plans, all that stress around money it dissolved, it disappeared. And you want to talk about having a healthy marriage? Get financial stress out of it. You get your financial health lined up so that you don't have to worry. And you make good decisions, you be a good steward of your finances. It's a different kind of life.
Game changer. Yeah.
It is a massive game changer. So it's leading by example, first and foremost, for me in all those areas, being a man that's not willing to get in there. I want to encourage you guys. I'm just going to throw this in there. Eric's got our men going through a book right now at the church called The Titus 10. Strongly recommend going and reading that book if you want to talk about being a man that leads by example. We're only the first 2 chapters in. It's absolutely kicking my tail. And I think if you read this book, it will really, really show you how to be a man of valor in these areas, in your home, in your church. So completely off topic there, but it's just been massive book here to start the year for me. And it's kind of funny how it's men do hard things is kind of the theme that we're hearing in the beginning of this book, and it's true.
That's good.
So
that's good. And here's a reality gut punch for all of us. If we're not leading men, if we're not leading the people in our lives that we love and that we befriend and that we care about, they're either stumbling around in the dark and confused, making all kinds of mistakes themselves, or someone else is leading them.
And that someone else is the world.
There you go. And there's some significant consequences when you allow someone else to lead instead of you. So just want to encourage you, be a leader, get after it. Like we say, don't just sit back and hope things change. Make a change today. If you're listening to this podcast, the best thing you can do is stop it, turn it off, pause it, whatever you got to do. Get a notebook out and say, okay, I'm going to tackle some stuff and make a plan and get after it immediately. Moving on to rest and the importance of rest. I tell you, rest factors in, even in this area of planning. It's hard to plan well and execute a plan well if you're exhausted and tired. I pulled up just some basic benefits of rest. I thought I'd read through these as just reminders for those of us that think we don't have time to rest. And Jordan knows these better than me.
Guilty.
He's a pharmacist and a doctor in several areas. But let me just share some of these. Rest helps with heart disease. It decreases inflammation. It improves mental health. It improves your mood, reduces stress. Sleep actually makes you happier. It restores your energy. Let's see, it stimulates creativity, improves weight loss, and improves your immune support system. And there's probably another 30 things here on the list that you can benefit from rest and from sleep. So all that to just say, this area of rest is so important. Yet I would argue it's probably the area that we give the least amount of attentional time, focus, and planning towards. Agree? Disagree?
Massively agree.
Yeah.
I hated when I saw that my name was on this week's topic because I knew I was going to have to bring some steel-toed boots to this recording. I struggle with this one immensely. My wife will tell you that I am only calm in the middle of chaos. That I find that I think it was just a mechanism of protection, I guess, I developed in my younger years, my teenage years, when my life was just in such disarray. That I learned to operate in that, and so now almost like get uncomfortable when there's peace and calm. And I learned a hard lesson last year, though. I had a minor tear in my MCL last year. Unfortunately, I had a friend that was an orthopedic surgeon, so I know I didn't have to have surgery. But he told me, you're going to have to give your knees some rest. I'm a pharmacist. He really told me I need to take 6 weeks off my knee. That's not possible when you're a pharmacist. I stand on my feet for 10 to 12 hours a day, 4, 5, 6 days a week. And then when I'm not at the pharmacy, I'm go, 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 go. And so I was like, yeah, I can just kind of suck it up and deal with it and man up through it, right? Rub some dirt on it and I'll be fine. After about 4 months of coming home some days and having to go straight to bed because I couldn't physically walk anymore, I realized that I actually had to do something if I wanted to have a normal functioning life. Because my life had really become go to work and come home and crash because my body physically couldn't do it anymore. I ended up causing some damage to my left ankle because I was compensating for my right MCL tear, and was just an absolute misery. And so I finally learned how to start taking some rest. My days off, I spent, taking the time that I needed to, propping that leg up, doing the steps, the Rice method, getting the things I needed to do. And miraculously, 6 weeks later, which is what the orthopedic had told me, I was feeling a whole lot better. So, there's a lot of, you just went through some benefits to that rest, but there are massive benefits to it. And you've got to find that time to do it. Because if you don't, you're going to be like me, and you're going to be in a lot of misery. You're going to be in a lot of pain, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Mine was obviously a physical pain that I was dealing with, but that whole what I went through applies to all those other areas. It's not just exclusive to a physical.
That's good. Yeah, one of my goals we talked about, again, a better me by MOV. One of my mental goals was to get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep a night. Ideally, I'd love to get 8, but 7 is also a win. How my time has always gone in the past, because got in the habit of getting up, 4:30, so I can have quiet time. As Jordan and most everyone else knows, we have 3 billion children in our home.
3 billion and one, right?
Yeah, there's probably another one hiding. So if you want quiet time, if you want, time to read, time to plan, you got to get up before they get up, kind of thing. And, and then the tendency on the back end of the day is to go till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Well, I find by the time my brain shuts down, I'm getting, good 4 or 5 hours of sleep most nights. And I'm not crushing it this year so far, but I would definitely tell you I've improved tremendously in this area, and it's making a big difference. I have more energy for the day. I'm more alert and focused and ready to get going. And what it's meant is, again, the area of planning. Okay, I can't just hope that I get in bed at 9 o'clock at night, kind of thing, to get my sleep, or even 10 o'clock and push getting up till 5 or something. I have to be intentional. I have to look at the night, look at the schedule, look at the family, look at what we have going on for the week, talk to my bride, say, hey, can we aim for this? Wind down the family, et cetera, et cetera. And, it's something I'm going to keep working on, because it's an absolute area where I suck as well. Most men suck at it. And how could we possibly improve ourselves physically? How can we have the focus spiritually, the drive to make changes and to plan and do everything else if we're just exhausted all the time? So really want to encourage you guys not to take this aspect of your health lightly. You really have to get rest. It's so important. And you and I, Jordan, we know so many men that burn the candle all over the map just because of health problems with their spouses, work schedules, travel schedules, like just so many things going on. And I can guarantee you, speaking on their behalf, that they would tell you, yes, you absolutely have to rest. You have to plan for it. I want to ask one main question, because we're getting ready to wind down the podcast here, but what do you think some boundaries should be, maybe, or any ideas you might have, some boundaries as it comes to this idea of rest that we could set? What are some things maybe we should look at potentially implementing to help us be a little more focused in this area?
I think you need to pick a day that is devoted to rest. That's what it's come down to me. And scripturally, that's what we talk about, right? The Sabbath.
Yeah.
Scripturally, we're called to have that day of rest, and over, Scripture is telling us, hey, come to me, I will give you rest. I will give you rest. I will give you rest. If you Google rest in the Bible, you're going to get scripture after scripture. Jesus himself rested, right? He would withdraw from the crowd and rest.
Mm,
Even in the middle of the storm in the bottom of the boat, he was taking a nap.
come on.
When you talk about scripture, so my wife and son would agree that napping is important. I think it's a waste of time, personally. I'm not a napper, man. If I'm napping, I'm probably sick.
Uh,
But no, it took me in, and so what I had to do when we got to making my calendar, my planning my week out, I had to make Sunday blocked out for rest.
yeah,
The Sunday after church, my calendar is blocked out for rest, and it literally on my calendar it says rest.
that's good.
And I'm having to stick to that. I'm gonna have to not come home and immediately go to make hats for orders or
Right,
shirts
right.
or returning real estate calls or whatever it may be. I've had to block that out and give myself. For me, it's the mental rest
Yeah,
because my mind runs 200 miles an hour all week long.
right. That's
And
good. I think you got
I
to
was
find that
exhausted.
thing. You got to find that thing that shuts your mind down, that
Yeah.
truly allows you to rest. And like you said, for some people, it could be, like you said, Sunday afternoon. Maybe they're watching football, laying on the couch. Some people, maybe it is taking a nap. For me, rest for me is when it's warm enough, finding a quiet place to have my pipe and a book, or
There you
a good
go.
cigar and a book, and just to have a space where I can just breathe, think about things that are encouraging, things that are joyful, and just to let all the stressors and everything else go. But I love that idea of having a specific day, specific block of
Hmm.
time in that day set aside to where you truly do enter into rest. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing that we all should look at because, hey, it's biblical, right? You said it yourself. You mentioned the scriptures. There's so many in there too that we know. And yeah, I think for all our righteousness, sometimes there's a lot of areas, gluttony, rest, etc., that Christ would look at us and be like, "Come on, what are you guys doing?" I mean, you're saying you're all about following me over here, but then you're ignoring huge
Yeah, I
chunks
always
of life.
imagine like being one of the churches in Revelation getting a letter.
No,
Those would absolutely be in there for a lot of us American Christians, right?
whoo, no
You're doing
good.
all these things great, but your diet.
Yeah,
Let's talk
yeah,
about that for a minute.
yeah,
So I don't want to ever have to get one of those letters addressed to Jordan.
yeah, yeah. That's good. And again, I'm just gonna, I know I'm beating the horse, but I want to encourage you. Talk to your spouse if you have one about this idea of rest. Don't just check out and tell her I have to rest and go. All right. Love her
Yeah,
well
yeah,
to say, hey, can we talk through what this could look like, what this could mean? How can we make this a holy uh space, a holy time to just
that's
really
right.
rejuvenate our hearts, our souls, our minds, our bodies to where we're ready to go after the Sabbath time is over. And that can look different for everyone. I just want to acknowledge
Hmm.
that again, that for some of you, it might be playing music. Some of you it might be going on a hike. Some of you, it might just be out with your camera, shooting photography. Some of you drawing, reading, writing. There's so many things we can do that God's given us to just unwind with. So find that thing that gives you joy, gives you rest, gives you peace, and sit in it for a while. I think that's the best thing we could probably say around that, and
Yeah,
then guard it well. Like we said, we're talking about boundaries. You got to guard it. If you don't guard it, everything's
absolutely.
going to try and push that boundary away. So,
Yeah.
last thing is, and I've liked asking this month because I think it's a good reminder for us. What is it, managing our time here that we're talking about, which is really, planning and resting and
Hmm.
choosing your time well. How do you think that factors into the gospel?
It's scripture. I mean, at the beginning of the day, it's you are only going to be as useful as you're able to function, right? And
Mm,
so, God wants to use us. He has all these plans for us. But if we're not taking care of our temple, if
yeah.
we're not doing the things that God's commanded us to do, and temple care is a huge part of Scripture. We're given specific rules of how to take care of our temple, those kind of things. Rest, our health, those things are
Yeah.
crucial to our overall. You're never going to be the man that God has called you to be and able to execute the plans that He has for you. If you're
Mm,
constantly screwing that up with a terrible diet, you're not able to fulfill the roles. Maybe He's called you into youth leadership. You want to chase around a bunch of teenagers and being out of shape? Ain't happening, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
If you're not taking care of the simple things, taking care of the stuff that allows you to be the most effective tool for God, you're missing the whole point.
That's good. That's very good. Paul writes about the effectiveness and the benefit of exercise, and why it's good for the body, and how we not only should we train our bodies physically, but also our minds
Yeah.
spiritually, right? So, absolutely, it's a gospel factor. We're called to make disciples, to be disciples, and make disciples. That's our purpose. I think we lose sight of that, and we think our purpose is our job sometimes.
Mm-mm.
Our purpose is raising our kids. Our purpose is financial security. All those things are things God expects us to be good stewards in. But don't lose sight of the fact your primary purpose of breathing air is to make much of God and make him known to other people. And you can't do that if you're not healthy.
Yep.
You just can't. You won't be focused. You'll be exhausted. Like you said, you can't even chase around kids in youth ministry
That's right.
without being worn down, much less have a drive and a focus and a heart and a burden to want to share Christ with other people. So, really want to encourage you guys, as always, to be men of valor that lead and love well, that do the hard things. And you can't do it if you don't have your health. So please take these topics seriously, have some good conversations around it. And I'd love to even hear feedback from people in our band community and in different places to just maybe how things are changing for you in these areas. I think that'd be real encouraging for other people to see as well. Any final words you have you want to throw out, Jordan, before we wrap this thing down?
Nah, just excited, man. Like I said, I knew this was going to be convicting for me personally. So, guys, if it stepped on your toes, know that it was doing that to me. But there's a path to improve in these areas. I'm working on it diligently here in 2024, and already seeing a lot of the benefits of it. So, make the time to have a plan, make the time to rest, and I promise you, your walk will improve because of it.
That's good stuff. We're going to end it there. And on your way off the podcast, encourage you, get a part of that Better Me by MOV. Take advantage of that. Look into the different areas where you can be challenged. You'll find it on our band community tab. You can find Jordan, myself there, Eric's there, Randall's there, our other executive. We'd be glad to point you towards the dialogue and the comments and the conversations that have been had around this, because our conference is coming up in August. Before you know it, it will be here. We've actually been talking about putting our executive planning session together in April. We've been going back and forth as execs, trying to figure out how to get the logistics all worked out, because we come together for our final big push. And after that planning session, the conference just flies into our face and is here before we
Mhm.
know it. So that'll be our final big push, really, as we prep for not only this year but also 2025, next year's conference. We like to plan ahead, talking about planning. So if you haven't signed up yet, as always, we want to encourage you, do that. Don't miss out on a blessing. I can't wait. I can't wait to be there and see people, encourage people, see the transformations that have been going on in their life throughout the year. And that's going to be an exciting time. We've also been just working on, we're constantly looking at some new merchandise ideas, new designs for t-shirts, things like that. We're working at how we can do things better. So we might have some info coming up for you guys as far as our store and merch and things like that. But meanwhile, I want to encourage you, we have some amazing, I think, top down amazing merchandise on our webpage. You can go to that. It's linked to our Amazon store as well. But movministries.org. Some killer hats Jordan puts together and puts out for us. Love those. I
I'm
got to
gonna go
get.
ahead and throw out a little tease, Travis.
Oh, oh,
February 1st,
woo,
guys.
come
The
on.
black hat with the red MOV shield that y'all seen us rocking here, it
Come
goes
on.
on pre-sale February 1st. Limited quantities. Keep an eye out.
Yes. Oh, and let me tell you right now, Jordan, I'm going to be buying another one, even though I had one. My Marine son took it at Christmas time. And what am I going to say? No, like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
whatever you want, son. My life is in your hands. So he's rocking it in special ops somewhere.
That's
So
awesome.
that being said, I'm going to be getting me another one. I'm going to buy one in February. So yeah, look for that. We're always trying to be intentional. If you guys have ideas for stuff, throw it our way. We'll be glad to look at it.
Absolutely.
We'll do our best to get you what you guys want. We got a lot of great stuff that we bring to the conference as well. But That's going to do it for us for right now. Again, just stay tuned, stay plugged into community, to the podcast, to our Man Up Mondays we do on YouTube, live Zoom calls every week as well. Don't miss those things. We want to be an encouragement to you, want to be a resource to help you become the man of valor God designed and created you to be. So love you guys. Thank you for giving us time. This wraps up episode 16, season 2. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to see you again next week. Same time, same locations. God bless you guys. And like Eric always tells us, hey, let's get after it and light it up for the King.
We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and that you will continue to join us on this journey to make disciples of men. Be sure to check out our social media outlets as well as movministries.org for any information, and be sure to join our digital men's community.
Hey guys, we wanted to let you know that Men of Valor podcast is proud to partner and be a part of the Recovering Fundamentalist Podcast Network. You can find their podcast and many other great podcasts by going to rfpnetwork.org. We would love for you to go and check them out as well. Hey, keep fighting, win today, and as always, go light it up for the King.